South Carolina has truly shaped who I am. It taught me the value of hard work, resilience, and community. And because of that, being part of this moment is something I will carry with pride for the rest of my life. When I think about today, I don't just think about a building, the machinery, or production lines. I think about the possibilities that could be done here in this facility. I think about the generations before us who built South Carolina into a manufacturing powerhouse, from textiles to automotive, aerospace, steel, and advanced materials. This state has always been powered by people who knew how to build things that mattered. South Carolina has never been afraid to roll up its sleeves and compete on a global stage. And now that next chapter is being written right here in Hardeeville. What will happen inside these walls is much bigger than the next generation advanced conductor technology. It's bigger than grid infrastructure, and it's bigger than any one company. This facility represents innovation, it represents energy independence, it represents opportunity. It represents made in America manufacturing, and most importantly, it represents the people of this region. People who will build careers here, people who will support families here, and people who will create a future here. That is what makes today monumental. But what excites me the most is that while today is our grand opening, we're already thinking ahead. We're thinking about long-term partnerships in this community. We're thinking about workforce development. We're thinking about creating opportunities for future generations. We're thinking about how TS Conductor can become a lasting part of the fabric of the Lowcountry. Because this is not a short-term investment, this is the beginning of something transformational. And none of this happens alone. I would like to sincerely thank the City of Hardeeville for believing in the vision from the very beginning. Thank you to the Southern Carolina Alliance for your partnership and leadership throughout this journey. Thank you to the state of South Carolina for continuing to champion manufacturing, innovation, and economic development. I'm going to go off script here, and would definitely like to thank the Assistant Secretary from the Department of Energy for taking the time to come down and be with us today for our special celebration. So thank you. And most importantly, thank you to the people of the Lowcountry for welcoming TS Conductor with open arms, with hospitality, and with the belief in what we can build together. Over the past several months, we have watched steel go up, equipment move in, and teams come together. But more than that, we watched momentum grow. We watched a vision start becoming reality. And if today proves anything, it's this: the future of manufacturing America is strong. And part of that future is being built right here in Hardeeville, South Carolina. Years from now, I believe people will look back at moments like this and recognize them as turning points, not only for our company, but for our community and for our region. So today, let's reflect on what has been accomplished. Let's rejoice in the partnerships that has made it possible, and let's celebrate the future we're building together. Thank you all for being here, and welcome to the future of TS Conductor in Hardeeville, South Carolina.
Today is a great day for the Lowcountry. TS Conductor brings a new center of hope for the families of our region, a new career choice for our young people to aspire to and achieve an economically secure life in the homeland of their birth. Options that didn't exist for prior generations. But today is more than a mere ribbon cutting. In fact, it is a wedding. We gather together in this great house for a marriage of two families, East and West, industry and government, employer and employees. A Western industrial employer joins together with an Eastern representative of the people. Both of us have strong family traditions. Both of us love and care for those in our charge. Both of us want to build a strong foundation for our future generations. Like a wedding, each family sits on opposite sides of the aisle. And after the ceremony, the two families walk down the aisle together. Today, we exchange vows. We say I do to each other. We say till death do us part. Today, our families exchange congratulations and wish years of happiness upon us all. Today, we drop our titles and call out our first names. Like all families, we know there will be stormy days, but we know we will be stronger than the ill winds that come. And when the darkness passes, hugs will replace the raids, because that's what families do. Our future will be filled with moments of togetherness, events at each other's homes, sharing our difficulties, sharing our joys, and all the while, our bonds getting stronger. Yes, today is about business and jobs, profits and salaries. But in a successful marriage, it is always about the people. And that commitment to each other, to our people, is what will make the marriage of TS Conductor and the city of Hardeeville successful and last for generations. On behalf of our council, management, staff, and indeed all the people of Hardeeville, Jasper County, and the Low Country, we say, woo, when ye. I do.
Okay, what an exciting day. I'm Joe Hunter. I'm the Vice President of Global Sales for TS Conductor, and thank you all for being here today. Brad, thank the local community, the state of South Carolina, the involvement they've had in bringing us here. I want to thank our customers and partners. You've traveled in from across the U.S. to participate in this monumental event in TS Conductor history. It is because of their support and belief in TS that has led to this day. We have been fortunate to realize 2x revenue growth on an annual basis since our founding. We announced the opening of our first manufacturing facility in Huntington Beach in late 2022, early 2023. So a little over 3 years later, we are already opening our second manufacturing facility that will increase our manufacturing capacity by 3x upon completion of phase 1 and up to 8x by the time we complete phase 3. While you see a very empty building here with some equipment running, with some of our first lines running, over the next 18 months, this facility will be full. Today is not just the opening of a manufacturing facility. It is an investment in the future, reliability, affordability, and resilience of the grid. Utilities need confidence, not only in the technology that they deploy, but that TS can support the supply chain behind it. This new facility will position TS to be more cost competitive, expand our manufactured in U.S. capacity as the only fully vertically integrated advanced carbon core manufacturer globally. This allows us to control quality, supply chain cost, lead time reliability, and manufacturing scalability. It allows us to provide redundancy and operational flexibility to better support our customers, reducing the risk associated with single point supply chain constraints. I have the honor also of introducing the next speaker, Jeff Phillips, Manager of Transmission Line Design for TVA. Jeff has been with TVA for over 25 years. He is known and recognized nationally. He participates in many industry committees. He is recognized for his championing of innovation, his engineering excellence, and technical contributions to the industry. Jeff is going to speak a little bit about how TVA views advanced carbon core conductors and what it means to their system and how it has helped them be a better utility. Thank you all for being here.
As Joe said, my name is Jeff Phillips, and I'm the manager of the Transmission Line Design Department at the Tennessee Valley Authority, or more widely known as just the TVA. So in the fall of 2021, TVA began exploring the potential of TS Conductor. At first, we were skeptical, just as anyone would be when confronted with bold new claims about this new conductor. TVA is not new to advanced conductor. We installed our first advanced conductor back in 2012, and we currently have over 70 miles of advanced conductors on our system. We've evaluated several carbon core designs over the years, but none had convinced us to move forward. But TS was different. TVA sent samples of TS conductor to the NETRAC lab in Georgia, and after it passed testing, we installed a pilot project back in 2023. That project didn't just work, it exceeded expectations. That success led us to launch the most thorough evaluation of any conductor in TVA's 93-year history. We sent 5 conductor sizes to the Connectrix lab in Canada for a deep, multi-year review of those conductors. 3 of the 5 conductors have already passed every required test, and the 2 remaining conductors should be finished later in June. But TVA didn't wait for the final test results to start making progress. We have already installed TS conductor on 3 transmission lines. One of them spans the Mississippi River, and it is 3/4 of a mile between those 2 towers over the Mississippi River. We're also installing TS conductor on a 20-mile greenfield line down in Mississippi, and that job is already halfway complete with no problems at all, and on several shorter lines near Kingston, Tennessee as well. And ahead of us, TVA has plans to install TS conductor on more than 225 miles of transmission lines over the next few years. So why are we leaning so hard in this technology? Because electric demand in the United States is rising faster than at any time in our recent history. Building new transmission lines will always be important, but the permitting environmental review process can take many, many years. Traditional methods will not meet this growing need fast enough, and we must find a way to increase the capacity of the grid faster. Advanced conductors give us a rare opportunity to significantly increase the capacity on transmission lines without measurable structure modifications. In many cases, we can double the capacity with less permitting, less environmental, less disruption, and far less time than traditional methods. These conductors are safer, faster to install, better for the environment, and can reduce outage durations by 50 to 75%. I've visited the TS conductor plant in California several times, and seeing their operation firsthand has only reinforced what this technology can do. When the company considered building a new plant on the East Coast, I toured several potential sites in the Tennessee Valley with TS and hoped that they might locate there. Unfortunately, South Carolina was ultimately offered a more competitive package than Tennessee, but I remain hopeful that one day we will see a TS conductor manufacturer in the Tennessee Valley. In the meantime, the new South Carolina plant is a major win. Its proximity to the TVA service territory will mean faster deliveries, lower shipping costs, and a closer working partnership. The plant will triple TS conductor's current production capacity, and fully built out, as Joe already mentioned, it will have about 8 times the current capacity that it has in California. That expansion is not just good for the Southeast, it is essential for the entire country. As a federal utility, TVA is also working closely with the Department of Energy to perform additional TS conductor testing. We intend to share all the results, including DOE's findings, with utilities across the nation. Many smaller utilities don't have the resources to conduct this level of testing themselves. TVA and DOE see it as our responsibility to provide what we have learned so that others can benefit from it. We want to remove the barriers and help utilities everywhere consider advanced conductors as a practical, proven solution. DOE is also pushing grid modernization forward through programs like GRIP and SPARK, which fund advanced conductor projects across the United States. These programs recognize something we all know. Our electric grid powers far more than our home. It underpins our national security. It drives our economy. It sustains our communities and our industry. And now it is supporting something even bigger: America's rapid growing AI infrastructure. AI data centers are expanding at a pace that we have never seen before, and their electrical demand is immense. Advanced conductor are the quickest and most effective way to meet that demand. The United States is in a global race to bring AI capacity online, and we must be leaders, not followers. If we want to win that race, and we must, our grid has to be ready. This is more than an engineering challenge, it is a generational challenge, one that will shape our economy, our competitiveness, and our future. Advanced conductors give us that path forward, a faster, cleaner, smarter solution. And TVA is proud to help lead that effort, not just for the region, but for our entire nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a great summary of the major mission that we have here. And, you just heard that from a Marine who really knows the transmission business, which, most people may not think is a very exciting business, but, these big things that you see up here in the pictures, when I had my 4 children and I was riding through the country and I'd say, look over there at that beautiful scene over there. And they'd say, what's so beautiful? I said, it was transmission lines, and they may not look beautiful to everybody, but, the transmission system is the most important machine that we have in this world right now. I had the pleasure of being the CEO of the Electricity Trade Association. And we represented electricity, all the electric companies, worked with the public power companies and the co-ops and the investor companies, and we had 90 members around the world. And everybody that works in this electricity business feels a really passion for the fact that they're providing an incredibly vital service. I often said electricity is 5% of the gross domestic product. And you think, well, 5%? But without that 5%, you don't have a gross domestic product. Think about living without electricity. Think about whenever you have a situation where it's not there. So it is incredibly important, as Jeff just indicated, that you need the challenges of keeping up with an incredibly expanding electricity growth around the world, but mainly in the United States, where we're showing a real leadership here. And that we maintain that reliability, we've maintained it affordably, so when you hear us talk a lot about FOT, and that we meet all the environmental regulations that are out there. They're of course for us to be cleaner and cleaner and clean, which we want to do. It is all of that is a daunting challenge, and I am here mainly to talk about somebody that Brad mentioned, and a very, very important person from our government that is now heading the sworn in as the Department of Energy's Assistant Secretary, the Office of Electricity at DOE. She was just a West Virginia girl, and came from pretty modest circumstances, went on to West Virginia University, Virginia Tech University, I should say. And Katie is always at first, she's got a wonderful, beautiful smile. Everybody loves her. You think that's really nice, but she is smart as a whip. She works like crazy, and she chooses always the hardest path, the most challenging path. She shows the path of the chemical engineering in West Virginia. And I understand in one of her summers or whatever, she came down here and worked at Hillby as sort of a grad. She knows this area of the lower country. She went on to get a master's in MBA, worked at General Electric, Lincoln Electric, you name it, other companies. And I was fortunate enough when I headed the Industry Trade Association that we had a chance to work together. And I always said that she was my boss, so she was a darn smart, but I did whatever she suggested, and I was really lucky to have that. She went on from there to become Deputy Assistant Secretary in first Trump administration, and then went on to be a major officer for the Electric Power Research Institute, multi-$100 million organization to do the important research around, which incidentally loves advanced metering. And I think that, her mandate right now is to modernize the electric grid. For all the reasons that Jeff and Joe and Brad just mentioned, this is such an important task. This is so very, very important for us as a country to meet this incredibly growing electricity demand, to maintain it reliably, maintain it affordably. You read the stories every day about the importance of the electric grid and how important that we are going to do it. So, Mayor, I think we found the absolute best place to build this factory. And yes, it's empty now. But the next time you come back, it's going to be half full. The next time you come back after that, it's going to have 500 people working here. Next time you come back from that, there'll still be another building over there. And it's going to be doing exactly what we need to do in terms of meeting the challenges of strengthening and modernizing the electric grid. So, Katie, stand up. Let me give you your hand. You recognize it, read it here. Thomas Edison, I often quote Thomas Edison because he was actually elected as one of the most influential person of the last century, in the sciences, And he had a saying, if we all did the things we are capable of doing, they would truly astound ourselves. I think Katie is doing that right now. Jeff's doing that right now. Brad's doing that right now. And our CEO, who has an incredible vision, and his wife, who is our chairman, they have a vision of being able to transform the electric system to meet that demand, to double or triple, as was indicated here, the power that runs through the power lines. That is leadership. That is going to determine how well we do in the AI race and in the economy and everything else. So I want to next just turn it over to our CBO, Jason Huang, and thank you for your leadership, sir.
Before I begin, there's so much to say, but I wanted to express some sincere thank yous. First to Mayor Harry Williams, for your remarks and also for the very strong partnership. I was really humbled by yesterday's Southern hospitality at the Technical College. Appreciate that arrangement. I'm not as tall as Tom, so. I'd also like to thank Jeff Phillips from TVA for joining us today as a speaker and for your remarks and your industry leadership, and also our partnership. I wanted to recognize and thank my colleagues, Joe and also Brad. Okay. And also our partner, Tom Kuhn, for your remarks as well. And like now to take a special moment to recognize some of our distinguished guests who have joined us to mark this important milestone occasion. From our Department of Energy, and by the way, we have received the DOE support for this manufacturing plant to the tune of $28 million US. And it is a tremendous statement of support. And I also wanted to recognize Dane, who did a marvelous job, and also Todd in the process. Thank you for making it happen. I wanted to recognize Assistant Secretary Katie Jereza from the Office of Electricity. You were bold enough to launch the Spark program. In that program, I firmly believe it is going to transform our industry. It's going to accelerate new technology adoptions, and it will make a difference in the U.S. power grid, in the race for AI. So I appreciate your leadership in that role as well. And also, Sam, thank you for coming with Katie as well. I'd also like to welcome and thank Brad from Senator Scott's office, Daniel from Senator Lindsey Graham's office, as well as Anita, the Director of U.S. Commercial Service in Charleston. Thank you so much for coming today. We're also grateful for the very strong support from our partners across the state and economic development at South Carolina Commerce. Harry, the Secretary of South Carolina Department of Commerce, has been tremendous in our early engagement. The governor was here last year, and we have really enjoyed their wholehearted support. So thank them very much for that. There's also Jasper County, City of Hardeeville, Beaufort County, and the broader Low Country region, South Carolina Alliance, and the regional economic development organizations. We appreciate your support. I also want to take a moment to recognize our partners, especially the utility energy partners. TVA, we mentioned about. Dominion, I saw Liz yesterday as well from Dominion. Thank you. Basin Electric. I saw Sean yesterday. Shane, you are somewhere here, but you have been a truly unbelievable customer for us. You've been there for TS all the way, and we truly appreciate your support. There's also APS, Florida Power and Light, Grid United, Lotus Infrastructure Partners, as well as our local electric utility, Palmetto Electric Cooperative, Central Electric Power Cooperatives, SC Power Team, and the City of Orangeburg TPU. We also have our industry partners here. A conductor solution requires a system solution. Without them, we're not going to be successful. So I wanted to recognize AFL, Preferred Sales, Huang, PLP, Composite Power Group, CUS, American Wire Group, and Connectrix Lab as well. You can't have a facility like this without the support from our local communities. So I'd like to thank HJ Regional Library, the Boys and Girls Club in the Lower Country, and the Technical College that we mentioned about yesterday. Last but not the least, I wanted to thank our financial partners, our investors, Breakthrough Energy, NextEra, National Grid, Wellington, EEI, Blue Earth Capital, and Edison International. Without your support, we would not be where we are today. So thank you very much. And there are a few things I wanted to say about TS technology. And I do feel very strongly that TS uniquely combines world-leading performance in capacity. We can do 2x or even 3x capacity with our solution. Low sag, you could say this is the lowest sag conductor, and low line loss. With real-world deployability. What do I mean by that? There are two critical elements. One is the field workability for the line crew. The other one is commercial feasibility in terms of lowest project cost. You need both to have real-world deployability. For example, TS is the first and the only US manufactured advanced conductor able to be installed seamlessly by linemen who can use the existing trainings and equipment to install without the rigorous training and certifications. We don't need to be called if there's a maintenance work to be done on the conductor, but we will help if there is a need providing trainings. I recall we did our very first TVA project about 2 years ago. Jeff recalled that. And by the way, Liz, you made the trip to Tennessee as well. It was replacing ACSS conductor that was installed in 1973. Keep that in mind. You know, we did have a pretty gruffy foreman, Travis. I remember him well. He's going to be in my memory for many years. And he's very good at what he does. When the project was done, we asked him how did he feel about working with TS conductor. And he told us that he would rather prefer to work with TS over ACSS conductor. He's been working for, God knows, 30 plus, maybe 40, 50 years. When TS is deployed, it is also the lowest project cost option, despite the modest conductor premium. There's a difference. It is the project cost that matters to the utility, to the project owner. And I remember when we did the MDU project, they had a 230 kV transmission line that they needed to reconductor for more capacity. So they were using ACSS, by the way, for majority of that line. When they learned about TS, they saw enough merit to switch to TS conductor. We helped them to eliminate the structural retrofit that they had to do for 90% of the structures. When the project was done, we saved them 40% in project capex over the ACSS option and saved almost a year in the 15 months project schedule. And that is over ACSS, everyone. We also work with Basin on new transmission lines. By the way, this solution, just like Jeff said, we can be competitive in terms of bringing the lowest cost option for building new lines. There was a 27-mile transmission line, 230 kV Basin leverage TS conductor. And Shane was able to reduce the number of structure. If he were to use ACSR option, he required 183 structures. But with TS, he only need to design for 155 structures. That allowed Basin to have a lower project capex. And by the way, TS can accommodate the extreme weathers in Phoenix. We actually work with all the major utilities in Phoenix, in Arizona, APS, SRP, and Tucson Electric Power. We also can support and accommodate the extreme cold and icy regions like North Dakota. And I recall February of 2021, there was a national weather extreme warning that it could drop to minus 50 F. Everybody was driven off the project site, and they could not finish conductor sagging. So the conductor was basically riding in all those sheet wheels for almost 2 weeks, which is not allowed per standard. So when the lineman came back, the foreman, I remember him, Mike, he went up to the towers. He wanted to check whether the conductor was damaged, because 3 months prior, he was working with ACSS conductor. In a similar situation, the conductor was deformed, beyond repairable. He was very pleasantly surprised to find that there's no damage whatsoever. He did not believe that. So he went up to the next tower. He confirmed his findings. And there was also a lineman in that crew, Bill Parsons. He took our conductor out, tried to bend and break it. He did that hundreds of times, and he did not succeed. And he basically told me that you guys have a great product. For my lineman, that is quite special. And this is really a testimony of the product's robustness in the field. Besides the field workability and also the lowest project cost, TS is also designed for resiliency and durability. For example, the low sag and high temperature capability allows this conductor to survive wildfire better in the transmission line than the steel core based traditional conductors, because it's not going to sag, and the material is already high temperature proof. We also have a compact design in the trapezoidal shape and a smooth surface, which does allow the conductor to handle hurricane or tornado winds and ice storms better than the other conductor options, because the load to the conductor will be less. We have also eliminated all the degradation mechanisms in this conductor through that aluminum encapsulation layer, which you will see in the tours that's coming up. And if you install TS conductor, it enables you to connect and serve the data centers, I would say, at the quickest pace. It is also good for the next 50 years. Why? Because you don't have to do reconductoring, because you have a capacity that is future-proof. And that will lead to the lowest cost for the ratepayers at the end. You know, there are some other things I wanted to perhaps make a comment on, because our industry uses a lot of acronyms. Some people are often confused, right? There's, for example, the phrase GETS. It stands for Grid Enhancing Technology. Remember that word, enhancing. And so what it means is it is able to squeeze some additional capacity by leveraging technologies like dynamic line ratings or flow control, if the condition permits. There's also a phrase, it's called ATT, it's called Advanced Transmission Technology. And this is a phrase that was invented to try to catch all. It covers GETS, and it also covers advanced reconductoring. And that gets confusing, by the way. So when we think of GETS, this is like, okay, you have an old pipeline, you're adding some valves to it, you're adding some monitors to it, and you're trying to squeeze and get some additional flow capacity out of it. That is really what GETS is able to allow you to achieve. So you can get, let's say, 20 to 30% capacity increase. And if you were to do reconductoring, for example, with ACSS conductor, if you wanted to accomplish 40% or more capacity, you run into a regime that you have to retrofit those structures, make them taller. And this is where the project cost is going to go up dramatically. It also will require much longer outage time for the line crew to work with these structures. With TS conductor, you do not have that issue. And when we think about advanced conductors, there's also some confusion in our industry that ACSS sometimes is looked upon or classified as advanced conductor. But I do beg to differ. The reason being, as I said, ACSS has been around since 1973. You don't call something that old advanced technology. And advanced conductor typically refers to conductor solutions that was designed to address the saggy issue in ACSS with heat. That's where the composite strength member comes in. They have lower thermal expansion, and that's how you were able to address the thermal sag. Unfortunately, the first generation advanced conductor had issues. They were too delicate for the line crew. They were too brittle, easy to break, and they're also very expensive. TS came around about 10 years ago. And this kind of goes back to how this company started. You know, I used to be the CEO and CTO for a company that developed the first generation advanced conductor. And we struggled as a CEO, and I dreaded phone calls from overseas customers middle of the night, because it is normally something very serious, right? I've never had that issue with TS conductors or since I founded TS conductor, and that is a very profound story. And I worked for that company when I joined them in 2010. I was asked by the Russian owners of the company. They owned the company in 2011 as a CEO. It was a pretty challenging time, to be honest, but I didn't make that company work and focus them on international market. I parted ways from the Russians in 2017, had the opportunity to acquire TS Technology because it addressed every single challenge of that first generation advanced conductor. And or just put it simply, we have a name TNS. I just wanted to explain that a little bit so that if you didn't remember anything, if you could remember at that point, it will be worthwhile. The letter S stands for safety, stands for longevity, stands for reliability. And the reason that we have S in the name is because we have pretension in the carbon core, which allows it to be mistake tolerant, that you can bend it without breaking our conductor. And we also have that aluminum encapsulation that design out all the issues related to composite core degradation. It allowed our conductor to be compatible with the traditional work practice, so the lineman doesn't make mistakes because they know what to do with the other conductors. They can use the same practice. That is why the S is in our name, safety. Besides the letter T, which stands for materials technology, you could say this is the best material science can offer to build a conductor. Transforming our grid is a national urgency and priority for the AI race, as Tom made the point. As President Trump declared when he invoked the Defense Production Act several weeks ago. We need both policy support and regulatory mandate to make it happen. And I really applaud DOE, especially Office of Electricity under the leadership of Katie, that you have already made that bold step with the SPARK program. This SPARK for reconductoring, coupled with FERC Order 1920, which will come into effect next year, it calls for planning over a 20-year horizon. What does it mean? Well, over the next 20 years, how much load growth would you expect? It is not going to be 20%. It is not even going to be 40%. You are likely going to be 100% or even more. It does require a grid transformation technology, not a grid enhancing technology. Otherwise, we have to invest money again and again doing reconductors, reconductoring those lines to meet that load growth. And the solution is here. The solution is going to be delivered from this building. We have a solution that delivers that future-proof capacity, and it is at a cost that is similar. If you use TS to do reconductoring, that project cost is similar to implementing some of these GETS technologies. You are getting that 2x or more capacity at a very affordable project cost. And at a speed, it matters to the AI race. That is what TS option can deliver. And by the way, someday in the future, we will be bringing a 4x capacity solution out of this building. And those technologies are already in place, and we are going to be the one integrating all of that technology together. And some of you will see the smart conductors. We will be able to do dynamic line ratings, and we are also open to combine other technology partners' technology in that. There are high emissivity coatings that we will be also implementing into our technology on top of the 2.5x capacity with TS baseline platform. You combine them all together, you potentially can deliver 4x capacity over the existing corridor without even changing any structures. Our North American grid is often described as the largest and most complex machine in the world. It got its start about 150 years ago when Thomas Edison switched on the Pearl Street Station to power the lights in Manhattan in 1882. For much of the past century, a conductor technology almost as old, the ACSR conductor, has been the backbone of this incredible machine. Today, we celebrate the next generation advanced conductor that will define the next 150 years of electricity delivery. Together, we can transform our power grid from a bottleneck and an impediment into an enabler in the global AI race and energy transition for sustainable prosperity of many generations to come. Thank you for your patience. This is a momentous event for TS Conductor. We're very pleased in terms of the welcome and hospitality that we received in the lower country. We are also pleased with all the dignitaries, including Department of Energy. The Assistant Secretary, Katie Jereza, came as well for the occasion. This is a starting point that we can help transform the U.S. power grid to win the global AI race. It is important for the country. It is also important for TS, and it is important for this community here as well.
So why Hardeeville?
I was very impressed with your governor in South Carolina, and we are also very humbled by how manufacturing friendly in South Carolina, and your technical college system also allow us to recruit and build our workforce here with ease. All of these reasons, plus we have a great port in Savannah, which is only about 15, 20 minutes away. This is a great location.
And what does it mean? I know a lot of money has been poured into. What does it mean to finally get to this day and be able to show it off for everybody?
Well, we're actually making the TS conductor today and shipping it to a customer in North Dakota. So this is the beginning of commercial operations for our operation in Hardeeville. So it is a very momentous day for the whole company.
So you say this is the beginning. Are you already looking at expansion? I think you said so.
We only have about 5% of the manufacturing equipment installed, and they are in production phase. When this building is full, it's going to be about 8 times manufacturing capacity compared to our California operation. And when the next phase is to start, let's say in a couple of years, there's a new building that's going to be built that we will take over that, and that will allow us to get to a point where we can do 20 times the manufacturing capacity compared to our California operation. This is really the future of advanced conductor manufacturing in the US of A.
What does it mean? What does it mean for the economic impact of this area and the amount of jobs that it's bringing?
Just this phase alone, having this building full with manufacturing equipment and humming along, we're looking at about 450, 460 direct advanced manufacturing jobs. And typically, each direct manufacturing job, you may have 7 derivative jobs. So you're looking at a situation where as many as 3,000 job opportunities could be coming from this investment.
And I know you guys have been having kind of hiring events throughout the low country, and what has been the response from those, and like seeing some people come in and that they're really excited to get started?
I met with most of the team here yesterday, and we are 20 members strong as of today, and we will be expanding that workforce dramatically. So we'd love to have you all help us to reach out to the audience, if they are excited about high technology, high paying jobs, making a difference in their lives and also for the country, for society, for humanity, this is a place to be.
Yeah, I just with the advanced manufacturing, like you're saying, like what level of education are you looking for? Like, what's a good candidate?
We have a multitude of job openings. They could range from machine operators that you don't necessarily have to have a college degree to management level positions. Obviously, engineering openings as well. As we grow, there are also going to be senior positions in this location. And if you have an interest and if you're serious, you are humble, hungry, and can work with other people,
What does it
just come. We'll find a position, we'll create an opportunity for you.
what does it mean to you to be able to contribute to the fastest growing county in the country?
It is very humbling that how much support that we have received. This being one of the highest growing regions in South Carolina, which means there are a lot of people that are coming to this area, right? So on the one hand, we have to compete for the job applicant, right? But at the same time, you would have more labor pool available to support business growth like ours.
And can you talk about the jobs, but how much money is this going to contribute to this area?
Well, there is the employees that's going to be paying taxes and supporting families. There are also going to be supply chain in terms of we need a lot of support from the local community as well. And over time, when you make products, when you sell products, there's tax revenue for our community and for the state as well. I think that economic impact could be very significant.
So where are you recruiting locally, or are you looking all over the region?
We actually have to reach out to Savannah as well. So I look at the greater Savannah area being part of our community as well. And it is well within the commuting distance. So I would encourage people, if you are in Savannah and you love high-tech jobs and you would like to make a difference for yourself, for your family, for society, and for humanity, this is the place.
Anything else you'd like to add to?
I'm just humbled with the hospitality that was shown to us throughout the week. And we are really committed to this community, and we wanted to grow the business from Hardeeville and use this as a global manufacturing hub to support great transformation, not only in the U.S., but also around the world as well.
Well, what it means is a very special opportunity for the people of Hardeeville, Jasper County, and really the entire Low Country, because the amount of quality jobs that are coming here in this facility are unlike anything that was available to prior generations. And that is really the most exciting thing. It's the opportunities for our people.
So this is bringing, once it's kind of fully complete, a lot of jobs and a lot of new people that'll be kind of here in the Low Country. I mean, what does that mean? Do you have the support to support all those people?
Well, there's a lot of things that have to go in when you have this kind of monumental growth, because what this brings is job opportunities. There are going to be more commuters. There's going to be more people who want to live here. And we have a lot of homes under construction. That means we have the responsibility to improve our roadways, to make sure that the power grid is sufficient for that new service. And we also are able to deliver quality health care. All those things come into play when we have this growth. And luckily, we have partners like FIAS Conductor, our energy providers, and all the government agencies right up to the governor supporting this kind of growth for the local. You think about what this was 25 years ago and generations coming out without the opportunities that a facility like this, an advanced technology, will now give our young people for many, many years to come. And that's got to be exciting for everyone in the Low Country.
What does the economic impact look like from this kind of from a facility like this and bringing in a business like this? So,
Well, it has a multiple effect, the economic impact. Because number one, you have the jobs that are here. These jobs will create the need for more services. Homes will have to be built. Roads will have to be constructed and widened. All those things are jobs. And when those new people come, we're going to need doctors, nurses, teachers for our children. All those things will also come. So the economic impact is not just in this one building. It spreads out through the entire region and affects the entire area in multiple ways.
You say that the city of Hardeeville is prepared infrastructure-wise to handle this, like see the kind of growth that you're anticipating over the next 10 years?
I think the city of Hardeeville understands its responsibility. It understands the need that we have to work on the things that are necessary to support this growth. And that's what we're doing. We all have to understand, just because all these things are happening, they don't happen overnight. They happen concurrently. Our homes will be built over the course of years. Our roads will be improved over the course of years. Our power grew, over the course of years. So all our growth will be happening concurrently. And the city of Hardeeville has a great staff to anticipate what our needs are, communicate those needs to all our partners, and concurrently grow at a pace that will be sustainable and will be safe. And that's the most important. While all this is going on, we have to make sure that our residents are safe in their jobs and on their roads, and they have the school system that will be able to bring up our next generations with the ability to take jobs that are available here.
Tell us about getting TS Conductor here in the first place, because I know they looked at other, I was just talking about like other than businesses. Tell us about how you presented Hardeeville, how you made it stick out.
Well, even before it got down to our level in Hardeeville, first of all, you had to have the facilities. In the city of Hardeeville, through this land group of warehouses a number of years. So we had the infrastructure, the buildings that were to be able to do. I have to give a lot of credit to the state of South Carolina, our Department of Commerce, Governor Master, Secretary of Commerce, Harry Lightsey, and they all worked to get them. And then when they came to the city of Hardeeville, I remember a dinner we all got together. And that's where I met some of the people from TS for the first time. And it was a connection. And I think that's what we put, that final piece that showed, A, we have the infrastructure, and B, we have the willingness to be a willing partner, to work together, to go through the things we have to solve them together, and a willingness that we, as I said in my remarks, created a marriage, two families, East and West, industry and government, employer and employees, all working together. And I think that's what we did in that final stage.
So what do you think the public perception is going to be? There's been a lot of talk. I know this is kind of the high-tech push. Be a lot of, pushback against like data centers and stuff. What do you think the public perception will be about this?
I think the public perception will be very, very positive. One of the things that our staff, myself and our city manager, what we started doing is going to the schools and giving presentations to high school students and saying, hey, this is what your opportunities will be. You will have the ability to choose new careers, the ones that you want to be involved in, not just the ones that are available, but an assortment, a variety of industries that you'll be able to choose your future. And that communication to our young people, and they take it. They're the ones we're building a future for. But the kids that are on the streets now. And I think that what the reception we've had in the school system has been phenomenal. And the kids, the students, they would stay. So I think that it's going to be a very, very positive impact from our community.
So as the county, like the city obviously has grown so much and, breaking records, Census Bureau top of the list for housing units and for population growth. How has business growth kept pace with that over the last one? Obviously, this is a big step, adding more jobs. But, when you have a growing population, how do you also make sure that that population has enough jobs?
Well, if you look at what's happened in this district, in this particular segment right here is 2.5 million square feet of warehousing and light industry. This Conductor has an option on another 1 million square foot building. Look at this. This is 300,000. It's over 3 times bigger than this facility right here. It's huge. Across the street in Riverford, you already have close to 10 buildings. That's 4 million square feet of warehouse, subdivided different logistical businesses. Just up the road, South Atlantic Logistics Company, 6 million square feet of warehousing. That's jobs, jobs, jobs. And that road from Riverford will lead to the new Exit 3, more infrastructure, more commerce, more jobs. I predict in the next 10 years, in this district alone, including TS Conducted, you'll see 10,000 new jobs for our residents and for the low country people. That is an economic boom that, again, always think back. Yes, we'll have trouble. We'll have things we have to solve, but we are giving our young people a future for generations. That's what we're building here in Hardeeville.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Welcome to Hardeeville.